Have you ever stopped and really asked yourself this? Are you living, or are you just surviving? The question may seem simple, but it carries an abyss. Because many times, we live without living. We wake up on autopilot. We complete tasks, respond to messages, chase things, goals. But deep down, something is empty. And the worst part is that we get used to it. With the little, with the shallow, with the almost. Viktor Frankl said that human beings cannot live without meaning. But, ironically, we are living without knowing why. And the absence of meaning, it weighs. It doesn't scream, but it drains. Drains your energy, your brightness, your hope. And everything starts turning gray. Have you ever felt like this? As if you were always running, but without knowing exactly where to? As if you were present, but not whole. That is not living. That is surviving. It is going through the days as if they were chores. It is waking up already tired. It is going to sleep without peace. Survival is the way of those who are just trying not to fall. But real life, it doesn't settle for that. Life wants intensity. It wants truth. It wants presence. It wants depth. Simone de Beauvoir said that freedom is not a state. It is an act. To live is to choose. It is to be aware of one's own existence. It is to act with intention, not just react, but most of us are just reacting. To the agenda, to routine, to fear, to necessity, to other people's expectations, and with that, we forget ourselves. Kierkegaard called this silent despair, the kind that doesn't show itself, but that devours the soul from within. It's the despair of knowing deep down that we are betraying what we could be, that we are silencing our truth, that we are postponing the encounter with our own life. There are many people who are alive on the outside and dead on the inside. People who have learned to adapt, to smile in public, to handle everything, but who no longer feel anything. This is what Frankl called existential emptiness. The absence of a why that sustains the how, the pain of existing without direction. And then you think, but I have bills to pay. Obligations, children, fears, exhaustion. Yes, you have all of that, but that doesn't have to stop you from living. Because living isn't about giving everything up. It's not about running away to a remote place or abandoning the world. Living is being fully present where you are. It's asking uncomfortable questions. It's not settling for the shallow. It's allowing yourself to feel. It's allowing yourself to change. Camus said that the great philosophical question of humanity is whether life is worth living, and perhaps the answer lies less in words, and more in the way you wake up every day. Do you wake up with desire? With a why? Or just because the alarm clock rang? Do you feel like you're living something that belongs to you? Or are you just repeating what others expect? The world doesn't want you to live. The world wants you to produce, to consume, to follow the current, to not question, to stay distracted. But the inner silence, the one that appears when we stop, it speaks. And when you listen to that silence, you start to realize some of the things you call routine are actually prisons. And here's a hard truth. Many people only realize they didn't live when it's already too late, when time has passed, when youth turned into urgency, when dreams turned into lament, when the body got sick and the soul gave up. That's why the time is now, not tomorrow, not after the holiday, not when everything gets better. Now. Now is the moment to ask, what moves me? What makes me breathe deeply and feel alive? What am I postponing in the name of fear? Living is no guarantee of comfort, but it is synonymous with truth. And when you choose truth, even when it hurts, you begin to free yourself. You begin to return home, the home that is you. And maybe you'll say, but I don't know what makes me happy. I don't know what it means to truly live. And that's okay. Do you know why? Because the first step is not knowing. It's feeling that something needs to change. And that feeling, is already a sign that life is knocking at your door, asking to come in, asking to wake you up. Life won't wait for you to be ready. It won't ask for permission. It will just keep going. But if you decide to look inward, decide to listen to what's suffocating you, decide to move in the direction of your truth, you'll see life has always been there, quietly, waiting for you to arrive. Surviving is the minimum. Living is the challenge. But it is also the gift, and you deserve to live, truly, with depth, with soul. So breathe, listen, ask, and if necessary, start again. You are not alone. You just need to start living again. Have you ever noticed how some people simply disappear into their own routine? They still have a name, an address, a social role, but they've lost their light. That sparkle in their eyes that only exists when someone is truly alive. And this is more common than it seems. The truth is that there are people dying inside, slowly, without anyone noticing, without even themselves noticing. Because the pain of not living is a pain that hides. It disguises itself as tiredness, as a bad mood, as boredom, as anxiety. It disguises itself as, I'm not in the mood today, as, I'm too busy, as, I'll think about it later. But deep down, it's life, screaming to happen again. And you know what hurts? It's that we get used to living in minimum mode, minimum emotion, minimum risk, minimum presence. But what is life, if not to be felt completely? You weren't made to live halfway. You weren't born to follow a script someone else wrote. You are not a factory piece. You are not a product. You are not a number. You are a story, a mystery, a calling, and only you can answer that calling. But for that, you'll need something the world never taught you. Courage. Courage to pause. Courage to listen. Courage to say, this no longer serves me. This is not life. Philosophy is not just for books. It's for this very moment, for when you feel alive, but don't know how. That's why Socrates disturbed so many, because he asked questions and forced people to look at themselves. Can you look at yourself? But truly, without filters, without justifications, without armor. When you look that way, you see, the life you want won't come ready-made. It must be built, chosen, claimed, owned. And yes, that's scary. But fear is also a sign you're close to something that matters. After all, we only fear losing what's worth living for. Sometimes fear isn't of failing, it's of succeeding and having to change everything. Because change hurts. It hurts to leave behind what felt safe, even if it was an empty comfort. It hurts to realize that what you put up with for so long was never real life. But there's an even greater pain. The pain of going through this life without ever living it, of letting time choose for you, of accepting a story that was never yours. Some people leave this world without ever having found themselves, not because they didn't have time, but because they were afraid to live. The truth is, truly living is not for everyone. It's for those willing to dive deep, to take off the masks, to unlearn, to start over, to fail, if necessary, but with meaning, with soul, with truth. Have you ever noticed how some children shine with joy? A hunger to explore everything? A spontaneity that asks for no permission? They haven't been tamed yet. They still know what it means to live, because they still feel life from the inside, and maybe your path is to return to that place. Not literal childhood, but that state of spirit where life was still a gift and not a weight, where time was a friend, not a demand, where you felt before you explained. That place still exists. It's there, beneath everything you've layered on, expectations, pain, fear, armor. The question isn't whether you can live again. The question is, will you allow yourself to feel, to doubt, to change your path, to live with presence? You don't need all the answers. In fact, no one has them. But you need the courage to ask, and that is already the beginning of your freedom. So if any of this touched you, if something moved inside you, don't ignore it. That's already life, waking up in you. Even if it's quiet, even if it's scared. Because life won't wait forever. It doesn't just want you to function, it wants you to bloom. You don't have to change the world today. You don't need a dramatic decision. Maybe you just need to take a deep breath, close your eyes and say, I'm here. I deserve to live with soul. I don't want to just survive. And repeat it until you begin to believe. Because living isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's not about control. It's about feeling everything. And when you begin to feel, you begin to hear yourself again. And when that happens, life finally finds you. You are not a mistake. You're not here by accident. And what you feel right now might be exactly what you needed to feel, to take your first real step. So don't be afraid to begin, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, because every great life begins like this, with an invisible seed that decides to choose the light. Living is this, daring to grow, even in the dark, saying yes to yourself. And if today is the day you say that, then maybe, finally, you are beginning to live.